Welcome to the live stream of consciousness. The live stream of consciousness is on a quest to unravel the mysteries of existence. Every episode, we ask the fundamental question, what is consciousness? Is consciousness merely a product of our brains, or does it connect us to something greater? Explore the very fabric of our thoughts. Don't miss a moment. Expand your awareness and tap into the boundless potential that resides within you. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness.
Yes, don't miss a moment. I didn't realize Jesse said that in that intro. He says, "Don't miss a moment," and that's really the key to life, right? Every moment is don't miss it. Be in the moment. And welcome to the live stream of consciousness. You are in this moment. It's not my moment, but I created this intentional space that you are in, and you're here. So I appreciate it. I see Timmy out there. I see Ninja Kitty out there. As always, thank you guys so much for always being here. It's Thursday, August 1st. It is August. We're moving through the summer slowly. Remember, we ran into summer. It was like, well, going so quick. And then at the end of last month, I decided to slow it down. So here we are in August. We're going to take it nice and slow each week. I have some really amazing guests coming up. Last week was probably I was I was glowing. I mean, it was like Metatron, having Metatron on my show, Metatron agreeing to be here and give messages and just wisdom was really awesome. But anyway, I still got a minute to babble before I bring on my guest. My name is Michael Zinn, and I created this show, or I continue to do this show week after week, because I realized that I'm just fascinated by all of our connections to source, right? I feel like we are one big consciousness. I feel like each one of us is an aspect of that consciousness, and that, we need to connect more. And there's a lot of division and things going on and stuff going on in this world that pushes us apart. And I love to have amazing conversations that connect people together and hear about their connection to source and how they express that through their existence, through their being. I mean, it started out with psychic mediums and astrologers and all of that kind of stuff. And I still love to do that. But everybody is a unique perspective, a unique aspect of source. And man, do I love it. I love this show. I love being here each week and talking to you guys and bringing on my guests. And tonight I'm specifically excited because it's somebody new, right? So the show has been kind of growing. I put myself out there to get guests of all kinds, and I'm being contacted by some really interesting people. So I get to talk to some new people, not people that I know, and I get to hold space for, but people that I don't know, and I get to experience them with you guys in real time. So if you're out there, share the show, click the like button. It only takes a second. I know I don't like doing that, but that's the kind of business you got to do when you're trying to create a community and connect people together. You got to remind everybody that we're all in this. We can all help. If you make a comment, tell me what you think about the show. It also helps. So there we go. That business is done. So this week's guest is not only a mindset coach, but a limitless mindset coach. I love that. And she reached out to me and thought she'd be a good fit, and I thought she would be a good fit too. I'm going to let her tell you all about herself when she comes on. I'm going to bring her on right now and run her through my rigmarole. But welcome to the live stream of consciousness, Kellie Rhymes. How you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me on your show, Michael.
Oh, thanks for being here. I'm excited to talk to you. You are just as glowy right here and right now as you were on your website and in the correspondence that we had before the show. So I'm super excited. But we were talking before the show about the question.
Yes.
and really that's what really started the show. And I think it's such a cool question because everybody's answer is correct, because it's really kind of subjective and how you experience it. And that question is, what is consciousness? What are we talking about even?
To me, consciousness is the connection with the source and everything around you. Realistically, like, I know we live in a society where everybody is so individualized and independent, but when we stop and slow down and think about it, we are connected to everything. And we have to be mindful of that,
Mhm,
because what I might do could affect my neighbor next door,
mhm,
unintentionally, unknowing, right? Because
mhm, mhm,
again, we're connected. So consciousness is just being aware that you're not alone. You really aren't alone. You are here to be a part of a bigger purpose.
mm,
And you may have your own specific purpose for your life or this life,
mhm, mhm,
but in general, you are a part of the collective for a bigger cause.
mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
I think that's what consciousness
I
is.
love it. I love it. That's a great answer. And actually, you being aware, most of the time people talk about being aware and that you're a soul and you're experiencing this, but you said actually being aware that you're with others, that you're not alone. And I
Mhm.
love that, because I think that's a big part of my philosophy is again, not like have to go out of my way to make everybody comfortable, but to be aware that I'm a human being on a planet full of human beings,
Right.
and that it's not just me on this planet, and whatever I need I should expect from everybody else,
Mhm.
unless I'm a giving person, then I can expect other people to be giving. And not even that I do, but I'm just saying, like, how can I expect somebody to be loving and giving if I'm not that way? Right.
Exactly.
And so I try to be that way. And that makes it easier for me and the people around me. I know that, at least.
Exactly.
So normally, like I was saying, at the beginning of the show, it started with, I was talking to psychic mediums and people who were channelers and read the Akashic records. So there was this kind of understanding that their philosophies was that there's something more to this existence than just the 3D kind of day to day that we've been told, that you get up, you go to work, you come home, and that's, you make a living, and that's it, and then you die. um, I'm imagining you believe that too. And if that's the case, is there a moment or a story that you can share when you came to that realization that there was more to existence than just you, right? And I guess you did say that because you realize you're not alone.
Right. You know what? When I think back, and I do this quite often, ever since I was little, I've always had different experiences that showed me that there is a higher power.
Mhm.
Whether it was a vision I might have seen, I might have, for example, I saw my mom about to have a car accident right before it happened.
Oh, wow.
Um, I would just have just different experiences. Did not know what it was, did not understand it, did not even talk to anybody about it. But as I got older, I just realized, like, wow, like, that was a power. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I have any gifts or anything like that. I
Which you
don't know.
obviously do. You obviously do.
Right. But I don't know what to call them. I don't know. Like, I can't say I've tapped into them and like focused on it, but I am very
Sure.
much so aware. I've always been a person who's observed things around me. I'm not a person who would just talk, talk, talk. I was always that person to just sit back,
Mhm.
listen, and observe and
Yeah.
see how things work
Right.
together.
Sure.
And it was just always just easy for me to kind of see that.
Yeah. No,
Did I answer your question? I hope I did.
yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. You absolutely did. And I think it's great. And that's what I was saying too. I love sharing stories about how people perceive the questions even that I'm asking, right? Because that gives me the answers. And for me, and I've expressed it already, I believe that we're all connected. We're all part, even if, even if, a story that you read in a book, everything in that story is a part of that story. So it's like,
Mhm.
it's a part of a bigger thing, right? Even just one word, a sentence on a page is a part of the bigger thing. And I think that's kind of the way I try to conceptualize it to people who don't understand, right? That we're all
Mhm.
connected. They're just like, no, but I'm me and you're you. And it's like, okay, yes, that's true. But, anyway, um, you definitely answered the question. And I love the energy. Oh, I want to pop up your website. So you are what you call yourself, the Limitless Mindset Coach.
Yes.
And the whole industry of coaching is very interesting to me, right? Because I know a bunch of coaches, or I've seen a bunch of coaches out there where I'm like, well, they're really talking to themselves, right? The things that they're preaching, they need to believe them.
Mhm.
Like for me, being kind of intuitive, right? I can say, oh, that person, they're saying the right message, but they're not hearing the right message, right?
Mhm.
And when you contacted me and I looked at your website and saw what you were all about, which we're about to get into, I'm really excited about it. um there was just such an amazing glow about the after, right? Like, so there's a before and then there's an after.
Mhm.
And authenticity is a big thing that I talk about here on the show. And it was like you speak about on your website, like you uncovered your authentic self, like you had tried to create this self, and it just wasn't right. And then you said, you know what, I'm just going to let myself out, and you became what we see now in front of us, and you've created your own business and everything, which is great. And limitlessmindsetcoach.com is the thing. I want to just share the website because it's a nice looking website. uh, Let me just pull this up here. And I also want people to see what I'm talking about because I think it is very evident. So let me share the website here. Beautiful. I love the logo there. A little characterization of yourself. And the website is just nicely designed. But I want to show people this. This is what I saw, and see if people see it well. And we're going to talk about your hair loss journey and what you're all about in just a minute. But there's these pictures of you that I saw, and you're a beautiful woman, and you're smiling, and you got these pictures. But then there's a picture of you now. Those are the before. And there's just such an amazing transformation that you see. Like, you just see the transformation. It's so obvious in that smile. And even though you're smiling here, and it's a beautiful smile, it's there's
It's not
something
the
it's much more authentic right here. It really is. And that's what makes it so much more beautiful to me when I see that. So I'm going to pull myself back a little bit. I want to give you the stage to talk about your journey, who you
same.
are, and I'm going to switch you to the big screen. And why don't you tell us what it's all about?
Okay. Well, like Michael just said, you guys, my name is Kellie Rhymes, but I go by Miss Kelly Michelle on all of my social media platforms. And I support women with hair loss due to my own story, my own journey. I went through a lot of different emotional and mental challenges when I was losing my hair. And I overcame those things and built myself up to what you see today. And I felt like it was time for me to start helping and supporting other women because women have hair loss for different reasons. And there are more women out there with hair loss than you could possibly think of. There are millions of women across the world who are experiencing some form of hair loss. And a lot of these women are hiding. You may never know because they're always covered up with either a wig or, like you saw me in those pictures, wigs, head wraps.
Mhm.
Some people, women avoid social interactions because they are so insecure about what's happening with them. So
Mhm.
I am here to step in the place in front of these women so that they can be their authentic selves, just like I stepped into my authentic self.
Mhm. Mhm. And so what was it that triggered that? Like, you said you were trying wigs, you were doing all this stuff. So something happened, and you said, you know what, let me see how this works. And I mean, I know I read some of the stuff on your website, so I know a little bit of the story, but I want to hear it because I know when you tell it, I get to experience it a little bit.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and break the story down for you guys. Now, in my late 20s, I noticed that I was having some hair loss. Now, at that time, I had locks or dreadlocks. So my cousin was doing my hair and she noticed like a small spot at the top of my head. And she was just like, "Hey, do you have a spot here?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." But we were like, "Well, let's just pay attention to it and see if it grows back or fills back in and, just watch it." But over time, I noticed it was not growing back in and that spot started getting a little bit larger and larger. So I'm like, okay, let me pause. And I decided to have my locks taken out. Now, normally people will just cut their hair off and that's how they remove their locks. Well,
Right.
me, because hair was important. I didn't want to cut my hair off. So I had mine combed out.
Wow.
Yes. So that was a very long process and it was also harsh on my hair. So when the locks were officially combed out and everything was done, I could truly see how thin my hair had become. But still at that time, I was like, well, I did just have a harsh process done on my hair. It probably broke off a little bit. So let me just give it some time and nurture it so that it'll grow and get thicker and see how it does. That did not happen. So I went down some years of just denial, trying to figure it out, going down Google, the dark hole in Google, trying to say, hey, what natural products can I use? Can I use rosemary or some essential oils? Or I went to the extreme of even putting an onion on my head. And
Oh, wow.
don't let an onion sit because they say onions draw out toxins.
Sure,
So
sure.
you should put an onion on your head if you're having hair loss to kind of, help it out. So I would do that every night. It was not fun. But that's the extreme that I went to
Yeah.
because I'm just trying to figure this out. I hadn't even gone to a dermatologist at that point. I was just like, no, I can figure it out. I know there's a product. I know there's something. Finally, I did go to a dermatologist and he told me that I have alopecia. Now, the type of alopecia I have is called scarring alopecia. That's the nickname for it. But basically, scarring alopecia comes from basically styling practices and the products you use on your hair. So as African Americans, we used to get relaxers, and some of us still do. But when I was younger, that was what we did to straighten our hair.
Right.
And those relaxers caused they're still causing it, but they caused hair loss, but we didn't know it. Nobody
Right.
was doing studies. Nobody told us these things were dangerous. Even certain shampoos and different things like braiding, if people pull your hair too tight, your hair can come out. So basically, that is what it was. But even when the dermatologist told me, hey, you have alopecia, in my mind, I was still like, okay, yeah, but I'm still figure out how to fix this. I can go get some hair transplants. I can do something. I was not going to accept that, oh, your hair is just gone and it's not coming back. I wasn't accepting that at all. So I went over, let's just say, I know it was a good 15, 16 years going down this rabbit hole of trying to figure out what to do, going to doctors to see if I could have something done, covering up with the wigs and hair wraps and extensions, weaves, all of the things to disguise my hair loss. Now, there was one particular time where I had to have my hair cut off and shave it bald. And that was because I had to. So what happened was I got a hairstyle. I had a stylist put weave in my hair and she used glue to put the weave in my hair.
Okay.
Well, when it was time to wash it out, it wasn't coming out. And in actuality, my hair was coming out with some of it. It was very hard to take it out. But the weave that did come out, my hair was coming out. So my scalp was really inflamed and it was just a mess. I panicked.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I panicked. I was on my way to my stylist anyway that day for her to do my hair because I was going on a cruise the next day.
Oh, man.
So imagine I'm trying to get ready for this cruise, get my hair done, and my hair is falling out to the point to where by the time I got to the stylist and she was able to take everything out of my hair, all of this was pretty much gone. And I only had a little bit of hair around here, but the top gone. So she tried her best to style it and cover it up. But when she was finished, I could tell that if the wind blew, it was a toupee situation. Like it would just be
Man.
flopping
Oh man.
on the top of my head. I was not about to have it. I was like, no, I'm not going. I already feel insecure, but
Right.
I'm not going to be embarrassed. So let's just cut it off. So I got my friends, and my male friend, he actually called his barber and had them clear out the shop. And he cut my hair all the way off, all the way down. And I took a razor. I went home, took a razor, and just shaved it, just slick bald.
Mm.
So you imagine it was difficult because I'm going on a cruise with a group of people, a big group of people. Luckily, I had my friends with me. So they were very, very supportive. They encouraged me and they told me, how beautiful I look and all of
Yeah,
that. But I didn't feel that on the inside. On the
sure.
inside, I'm like, I'm ugly. I look like a man. Everybody's staring at me.
Right.
It was just all negative, negative, negative.
Sure.
So, of course, it didn't last long before I started trying to grow the little hair I had back. And some of it did grow back,
Mhm.
but I started wearing the wigs again and started covering up. And I just continued to do that.
Right.
Now, or did you want to say something?
No, well, I did actually. One of my listeners, Ken's Wardrobe, says, "Kelly, you are gorgeous. I know a few alopecia beauties. I'm glad more people are learning about it. Thank you for sharing your story." Yeah,
Oh,
one of my best friends actually uh, got alopecia at 10 years old, and he lost his hair at 10 years old.
mm-hmm.
So you can imagine what that might be like for a 10-year-old boy to
Exactly.
be completely bald. I mean, he lost his hair completely bald. And now he's proud, and he's a he's confident,
Mm-hmm.
and he went through a lot to get there. So I
Yeah.
definitely understand. So
It's
uh,
definitely mentally taxing and challenging.
yeah.
And even after that first time of me cutting my hair off, it still took years before I got to the point to look like this. I had to really sit down and work on my mindset and build myself up and know that I'm beautiful regardless of hair. I really had to work on it. I would do things such as like just go out by myself or, just things that were uncomfortable.
Right.
And I actually cut my hair down really, really low. It wasn't bald, but I cut it low and I would use hair fibers. That was my test. So I
Okay.
cut it down, use hair fibers to kind of cover up the thin spots. And I
Right.
would
Right.
go out by myself and just have lunch by myself and just do things that I was uncomfortable with so that I could become comfortable. Because
Sure.
whenever you go out in public with a bald head as a woman, you're automatically going to get attention.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
I was just trying to get used to being comfortable with me as a person
mhm.
in my own skin by myself, regardless of how I look, and just doing different things like that.
Right.
But I just came to a point where I was like, I'm tired. I'm tired of hiding.
Mhm,
I'm tired of covering up. I was living in Arizona at that time.
mhm.
So imagine how hot it was wearing a wig or a hair wrap in
I can't. My
Arizona.
folks are in Arizona. I can't imagine. No.
Yes. So
But you said something important. You said uh, it was kind of your own. You had to kind of go out and sit in your uncomfort.
yeah.
It was, how do I word this? It was your own thoughts about yourself, right? I think
Mhm.
that reflected on how you looked and how you felt, right? And
Yes.
and I think you said, oh, so you said a woman is going to get attention, right? No
Mhm.
matter what, if she goes out in public and she's bold, because it is striking. Even today, that it's fashionable, it's still a very striking look. And I think that's the good thing about it. And so my question is, did you notice a difference when you changed your thoughts about yourself, what that attention was like? So you would get attention either way, but
Mhm.
you were probably attracting more of the attention, like, oh, what is that? And not the, oh my God, she's so gorgeous and striking,
Mhm.
until you change your own mindset. So that's what I want to hear. How did that transformation take place?
Well, yes. So once I actually became comfortable and decided to shift my mindset and be more positive and embrace my hair loss and just say, "Hey, it's not coming back. The type of hair loss I have, it's not coming back. So let's deal with it and move forward." Once I made that shift and then I decided to cut it off again, everything was different. Everything was positive. And that's how I know it was all in my mind, because after I cut it off the second time, people were coming up to me, telling me how beautiful I am, and asking me. I've even had men ask me, "Well, what do you use on your head?" you know.
Yeah.
Um, I've had a husband and wife couple. We were at a festival, and a husband and wife couple came up to us, and the husband started talking to my spouse, and he was like, "Hey, how do you manage, being with a woman with no hair?" Because his wife was losing her hair.
Right.
And
Right.
she was really, really afraid to cut it off because she thought her husband wasn't going to be attracted to her anymore. And he
Right.
was trying to reaffirm in her, like, "No, I am going to be attracted to you. I
Right.
love you. I'm not going anywhere." But it was all in her mind. And I had to
Right.
pull her to the side and have a conversation with her and share my story.
Mhm.
So once I cut my hair off, not only did it give me that boost of confidence and knowing that I am still beautiful, and the love and appreciation I get from people, it
Mhm.
also allowed me to help other people, because now that I stepped out showing my authenticity, people are like, "Whoa, I need to do that as well, but I'm
Mhm.
afraid." So
Mhm.
how did you do it?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So you said this couple came up to you and they were like, "How do you do it?" Right? And I mean, Kelly, I gotta say, as I'm talking to you, I feel the glow coming off of you. You really, I mean, your tagline is confidence is key, right? Or
mhm,
something, and it's it's so there, and I think that's what attracts people to you, and I think that's what allows you to coach other people in it, because for me, it's kind of the same thing. It's like once I understood that I needed to love myself to move forward in any way, right?
yes,
I needed to love myself, and once I was able to understand that and embrace it, I and it was so simple when I took a step back and I was like, "Oh, that was it. All I had to do was believe and feel it and change my mindset," like you said.
mhm,
Um, I can understand that, like wanting to be a coach and tell people how easy it is, to really believe in yourself and know that no matter what you look like, you're beautiful. I think society, there's all these like standards of height and weight, and it's like,
yes,
but some girls, they're super tall and they're so self-conscious about it, but they're just as beautiful, right? I mean, it's like
mhm,
what does it matter what you look like? It's what's inside, and then it becomes your outside, right? So whatever's inside you, that I'm seeing right now, is glowing to the outside.
thank
And
you.
yeah, and it's just, kudos to you for achieving that. And again, I love it because I think when somebody achieves that and can walk around in that, other people feel it, and like you said, they come up to you, they're like, "How do you do it?" And you can just, a couple of words, and you might change someone's life. They might be like, "Oh my
Exactly.
god, that's great, that's so simple, that's so great." And even just talking to you or being around you, it rubs off that vibration,
That attraction.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So tell us how you transformed your own transformation into the business, and you said you like to help people, and that's what you decided you wanted to do.
Mhm.
Tell us how you do that.
Well, okay. So this is an interesting story as well, because realistically, my background is in real estate investing. So I was really coaching in that space, and I was teaching
Mhm,
people how to start midterm rentals.
mhm,
Now that was good. I enjoyed it. It was a skill set that I had,
mhm,
but I knew it wasn't my purpose.
mhm,
I knew it wasn't what I was ultimately supposed to be teaching people or working with people or supporting people on.
mhm, mhm.
It was a stepping stone. And,
Yeah,
once I kind of went through that, I looked back and I was like, yeah, it was a stepping stone for me to learn some things so that I could step into what I'm supposed to be doing.
sure.
The creator put me in this position. I've had these experiences for a reason. Now, before, I didn't know why. I was like, why is this happening to me? I'm too young. But you just shared your friend was 11 years old. So it could have been
Mhm.
worse, right?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
But it was just like, okay, I've gone through so many different things. I have so many stories to tell. I know there are other women out there that are experiencing the same thing and they need support, because I know I needed
Mhm.
support. But back then, when we're talking about, like, now we're talking about over 18 years ago,
Mhm.
I didn't know where to turn to. I didn't know where to go. All I knew was, okay, well, let's just go online and try to figure something out. Let's go on YouTube. Let's go on Google. But now we have this space where we have all of these people who are coaches and people who
Mhm.
are coming out to be healers and,
Mhm. Mhm.
all of these things where it's like, okay, now I know I can do this. I can
Mhm.
support women with hair loss.
Yeah.
So it's time for me to step up. And ever since
Awesome.
I've done that and I've made that change and transitioned into this business, oh, I am so much happier. I'm
That's
so
great.
much happier
That's great.
because I know I'm truly doing something that will benefit women.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I imagine that interaction and connection with people you have, especially when you help someone just by being who you are, you know what I mean? That's so rewarding. And then, you're probably making friendships left and right, and getting to watch people's journeys from feeling a certain way about themselves to loving themselves, and to,
Mhm.
I mean, I love these conversations because to me, every day is a challenge, right, in this 3D world. And in even just my conversations day to day, the words in which I speak, the way in which I speak to others, and even about myself, right? If I'm starting to say, oh, I did this, and I start to talk bad about I'm like, no, wait a second. And I try to change those words, and I try to change the thought process, because the mindset, right? Everything is up here.
Right.
You have so much control of how you feel. And do I understand when people say, well, wait a second, I suffer from depression, I don't really have control over it? I understand what they're saying and what their mindset about it is, but if they can change their mindset, I think they can have a little bit more control over that depression, and how it affects them and how they respond to it.
Right.
That's really what they have control over, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So are you going to lots of conventions? Or like, how do you like meet people? And I mean, it's a pretty specific community, right?
Right, right. So, no, I have not been going to conventions, but that is something I plan on doing maybe next year.
Mhm.
I've just started learning about conventions for hair loss for women.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Again, I didn't know this was out there, but when I started
Sure.
doing more research, I have seen some people who are throwing conventions and retreats and different things. So I do plan on participating and attending some of those events. But right now, what I'm doing is I put a lot out on social media as far as
Mhm.
information, education, my stories. I put a lot out there. I
Mhm.
also do podcasts like this. So these are my primary ways of connecting with women. But
Mhm.
I am still, venturing and exploring more opportunities and ways, because I do want to eventually be able to work with organizations that, are around
Mhm.
alopecia or cancer, or,
Mhm.
different organizations that are connected to women who are experiencing hair loss, so that, maybe we can work together to do something.
Sure, sure. And as you're talking, and I'm kind of, absorbing the energy of who you are and what you're experiencing, and thinking about the idea of alopecia and the idea of how you took your situation, right? And you are very proud, and you've adopted the bald look now. So what I'm thinking in my head is it a blessing? Is it a curse? How does that work with, like, there's an industry out there that's kind of built to hide it, right? So there's like
Mhm.
a whole beauty industry that kind of tells people how you look is not the way you want to look, right?
Mhm.
Is that a fight that you're fighting against that, or do you work with that? Like, I mean, obviously you wear makeup and you take care of yourself, right? And you're beautiful, you're gorgeous. So beauty is not an issue, but it's the industry kind of standards that I guess you're fighting against. How does that play into what you do?
So the industry, of course, like you mentioned earlier, it's all about the long, flowy hair. That's what makes you beautiful. That's what they present, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But in reality, we know that there are all forms of beauty. Most women don't have this long, flowy, luscious hair, or luscious, excuse me, hair.
Yeah.
And if they do, they probably have extensions.
Right.
Realistically, you know. So we know what it is. It's just hard because hair is like a shield. It's not so much that I'm not gonna say that. I was gonna say it's not so much that people don't believe they're beautiful, but some people do believe that they're only beautiful with their hair. So I can't say that. But for a lot of people, it's just a covering. It's almost like they can kind of hide behind their hair because when you cut your hair off, you get to see features of a person. You get to see things pop out that you didn't see before, right?
Right.
So it's not like I'm really fighting with the beauty industry. I tell people, you don't really have to have a bald head. I just want you to be confident enough to know that you're still worthy. You're still beautiful. You still have joy in your life, regardless of what's happening to you. Now, whether that's hair loss, whether you have some type of disease, whether you lost an arm, it could be anything because these are all related to our physical appearances, right? That can affect our self-esteem.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. All I'm saying is I want you to hold your head up high. I want you to accept what's happening, embrace what's happening, and you make the decision if you want to continue to wear a wig or not. But I want you to be confident enough to walk outside without that wig if you decide to do so. I don't want it to be a situation where you're experiencing anxiety because you don't have this wig or don't have something on your head. No. I want you to know, regardless of what's happening, you are still beautiful, regardless of what society is putting out there. You're still beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what, also as you're talking, I'm realizing another important thing. And I'm a photographer, and this is something that I've always said and always known is it's the smile, right? It's the expression on your face. Like, no matter if your face is pretty or ugly, if you're smiling and that smile is authentic, that breaks through any sort of, what's a society norm. It's like that smile, that authentic smile, that's true beauty. And again, as a photographer, man, what a difference it would make when I would actually be able to capture someone with that authentic smile, and I would show them and I'd be like, look at the difference between this picture and this picture, where you're just like, your expression is this, and then now your expression is open, your whole face opens up. It's almost like you see the light.
Yeah. And that's also that inner beauty, like you spoke about earlier, that inner beauty coming out through that smile. Hey, that just changes things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. And we got some purple hearts from the quiet healer out there. Awesome. Yeah. And it is great to see you so happy. And just, again, that's what this world needs more of. People who just realize, like, listen, I can take this moment and I can either enjoy the hell out of it, or I can be miserable. Which one's gonna feel better? And
Exactly.
the answer is pretty obvious. So you've taken that, and I think because of how successful you are with your own life and that smile that you have, people trust you to coach them and to help them with their mindset. Can you give us take us through some of the basic stuff that you try to teach people without giving too much away free?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the number one thing that I tackle is the emotional side of the hair loss. How do we eliminate those negative emotional charges? How do we eliminate that negative self-talk, just like I was doing to myself? I was saying I was ugly and, I look like a man and all of these things. Let's first get rid of that. So I take people through processes to let that go. Let it go. It's not serving you. And let's change that mindset and switch that around. So once we go through that, then also I have tools like journaling. I have a 90-day journal, which helps boost self-esteem. It gives affirmations. They can write out what they're experiencing, what they're feeling on a daily basis. And then on a weekly basis, kind of take a look at what happened in the week and what are some things, some wins, basically. What are some things you did? Just like I said earlier, going out by myself and getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? Different things like that you can journal about. So I have tools like that. And in addition, just support, like if once a month, getting on a call with other women and let's just talk. It doesn't have to be, it's not anything like super formal, or we're just talking about experiences, how we're feeling, supporting
Sure.
each other through whatever journeys we are going through. So those
Sure.
are some things that I do to help women.
That's awesome. And I think that, again, that's important, especially like because it's such a specific thing, right? So that you have a group of women who are all going through this hair loss on a big Zoom call, and there's just such an amazing energy that happens when you get people together that are all kind of experiencing the same thing, even if it's like a negative thing, perceived as a negative thing. I have a great example. I have a friend, Linda, who has a bereavement group, right? She lost her son to an overdose. And she started this bereavement group for parents who lose their kids to an overdose. And I have never experienced a more amazing group of people when they get together. There is so like there's incredible amounts of grief going on that they're sharing, but there's the opposite and equal incredible amounts of love
Yes.
and strength in believing and feeling their angels on the other side have all kind of put them in this position in order to strengthen them. And man, it's palpable when I'm in the room with them, like that energy. And I can imagine it's a similar thing with the group, going through stuff that's so emotional and I guess based on self, which is, and I guess I'm just thinking out loud here, which society puts all of these kind of important things, like you need to be this, you need to be that, and so, you know, it must be a struggle. You've got this added struggle of the hair loss to be like, to be, oh my God, I'm not normal, right? And man, you are so much more than normal. And
Exactly.
it's such a pleasure to talk to you and just have your energy around. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. I
Uh,
mean, and these women, like you said, it's the support and the love. That's the biggest part. Like everybody has empathy for one another because we all know what each other's going through. So
mhm.
it's automatic. It's automatic. If someone comes in and they're not feeling the best, they're automatically going to get that love. And it makes them feel better.
Cool. And do you do things or recommend things or have you been approached for things like modeling, which you might not expect? Like,
Well, so I've been approached from been approached from modeling before this. Like I'm
okay,
tall, so I
okay,
automatically get approached because I'm 5'9", so that's tall for a woman. I know there are taller women, but
right,
typically that's tall. So
yeah,
I was already approached about that, but I have not been approached since I have cut my hair off.
really.
I have not. No, not for modeling. But I also haven't put myself out there. So, you never know. If it
That's
comes to
interesting.
me.
That's interesting. And you're in the middle of the country, right? You're in
So I'm in
Missouri.
St. Louis, Missouri now.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're in Missouri. Okay, because I'm a photographer, and I do a project where I take a projector and I project images onto my models, and your bald face, your beautiful face, would be so perfect for that project. I mean, I'm
Hey,
imagining it, and it's like
I'm up for it if you want me. Hey, I'm there.
Cool. We may have to talk about that. We may have to talk about that. Uh, Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, and I guess what would you say about women who are out there who have kind of made that statement about being bald and being beautiful and empowered? How does that work into what you do?
I mean, well, it just kind of coincides because you would be amazed that when women really do cut their hair off and shave it off like this, they actually do love it. I have spoken to so many women who said, I cut my hair off before and I loved it, but now they have hair. But it
Right.
could just be because they couldn't, stick it out with the low haircut or just didn't want to, whatever. But realistically, Women love it. I love it because it's just easy. And that's the biggest part. It's just easy. And especially when you think about the cost of hair
Mhm.
care
Yep.
as a woman, especially an African American woman, we spend a lot on hair products. So to not have to worry about that, that's a great thing in itself.
Oh yeah, you better watch out. Those people who are like the free energy, you know, they like killing the free energy people because it's an industry. The whole industry is going to come after you for,
I
hey,
know, right?
you're killing our industry. No, but
Now, there are plenty of people who still are buying. They don't
yeah,
have to worry
yeah.
about me.
No, but again, I mean, you know, like I said at the beginning, I think there's such an amazing authenticity in who you are, and I think it's also like a spiritual thing because you were kind of put in this position, right? And you needed to make a decision. Am I gonna fight this and be miserable, or am I just gonna be free? And that empowered you to start your own business to
Yes.
empower other women, and that's just such a beautiful thing. I'm just filled with happiness.
And being free is a key thing too, because that's another part of cutting your hair off. It is a freeing moment for you. So I want women to keep that in mind as well. It is definitely like, I don't know. I think in some culture, I think it's India where women will cut their hair off, and it's like a spiritual
Like a
ritual.
ceremony. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's kind of like it's a cleansing type
Mhm,
of ceremony. It's
mhm,
it's
mhm.
almost like that. Really, it's like, okay, finally, I'm free. I don't have to worry about this. The
Yeah.
wind is blowing. The When I take a shower, that warm water on my scalp, I can jump in the ocean with no problems and not
Yeah,
worry about hair.
that's
It
awesome.
is great.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And so how many years, how long has it been since you made this transformation?
With the hair loss after
Yeah.
that transformation, whew, I did the second cut, and well, this official look, it was in 2019
Okay.
when I decided to go with this look, and I still have my wigs. I still have them to this day because I thought, well, when I want to wear a wig, I will. But I have not. I can probably count on my hand, yeah, how many times I put a wig on since 2019 because I'm like, no,
Wow.
I don't want to.
5 years, you're comfortable. Yeah, I can say I was blessed. I have decent hair, right?
Yes, you
Um,
do.
but I wore my hair long and in a ponytail for over 30 years. Like that was the way I felt comfortable. I couldn't imagine myself. I tried to cut my hair a couple times. I would cut it short, and then every time I would catch my glimpse in the mirror, I'd be like, nah, this isn't me. I need the long hair. I would grow
Mhm.
it back. And a few years ago I cut it short, and like you said, it's so easy, so much easier to take care of. I don't have to worry about it. I could get out of the shower and just wet it, and I'm
And it's
good.
done.
And I've kept my hair short since then, and I'm much happier too. So uh, I totally agree. I mean, listen, it's not like going through alopecia or anything like that. If my buddy Steve watching, I'm dedicate this episode to my buddy Steve, uh, who later in his years he discovered that he could sing in karaoke, and he discovered that he sounded exactly like Bon Jovi. And
Really?
not only that, so he got himself a wig and started a Bon Jovi tribute band and became the biggest Bon Jovi tribute band on Long Island, and did such an amazing impression of Bon Jovi. And it was like he got to live vicariously, when he put the hair on. But when he did, he was confident as Steve,
Hmm.
when he didn't have the wig. And he's a great film director, and he started doing DP, director of photography, for films, and he's doing great. And I think once you embrace the fact that you are who you are no matter what, and you just got to go ahead and be you, I think
Yep.
life gets a lot easier. And I think when you can turn around and use that experience to help people, I think that's even better. I think that's kind of what I think I do in my own way with this show, right? It's just like a little therapy session almost, where people get to be themselves. They get to see that it's okay to be yourself, and it's not only is it okay, but it's beautiful, and you have something to offer. to the
Right.
rest of the world. I mean, I always say, we're each a puzzle piece, and we may not fit right next to someone, right? But there are pieces that do fit right next to us, and even if those pieces don't fit next to us, they're part of that bigger picture when you back out, right? All the
Yeah.
puzzle pieces go together. So that's what I like to do here, is just like let everybody share a bit of their story, and so, like you said, people who can relate to it can benefit. If anybody out there knows of anybody or is experiencing anything like this, Limitless Mind Coach, you can get in touch with Kelly there. And I know you said you go by Kelly Michelle
Mhm.
on your social media. I loved Kellie Rhymes. That's how I got your email. I was like, Kellie Rhymes, she sounds like a celebrity. Like that's like like it just flows, right? It's just
I get the infamous question, "Are you related to Buster Rhymes?" No,
ah,
I'm not.
that might have been what I was thinking, like just the way it flows, because I like Buster Rhymes.
No,
So
but I do like my name. I love my name, but I go by Miss Kelly Michelle.
cool. Cool. So do you have any words of advice for my audience, or the parting thoughts?
Yes, yes. I just want people, I'm not going to even just say women with hair loss, because again, people are experiencing all types of things. There are perceptions that people have about themselves that they don't, something about them that they don't like, that
Mhm.
is really weighing on them. So, whatever that may be, whether it's hair loss or something else, I want people to know that you are put on this earth for a purpose. The way you look is not, no one's worried about that. Like, that's not why you were put on this earth, unless God wanted you to be a supermodel or do something, like that. But your purpose is just to be happy, live life,
Mhm.
be in your purpose, be happy, be joyful. And that's just it. It's just that simple. Be yourself and just move forward. I mean, life isn't perfect. Things aren't perfect, but we take it and we roll with it, because you still have a life to live, right?
That's
So
right.
just
And
because there's
I don't even say it that way. This is what I was saying earlier, right? Life isn't perfect. No, it is perfect. It's perfectly imperfect, right? I mean, there are things that aren't perfect because they're not exactly what you want, but
right,
there are things that you're supposed to be working through, right?
exactly.
I think so. I think so. And the quiet hero says you don't need a wig, and I agree. And you
Thank
already know. Nobody needs to tell you that. You decided that a while ago. Angelo says, "Sorry, I arrived late. Why did she decide to cut her hair?" So the story is alopecia. She was losing her hair, and she just, rather than fighting it, she embraced it, and that's the whole story. And you can see this glowing divine goddess that you see before you now, going through that transformation of alopecia. And Tim says, my vocal surgeon just did vocal surgery on John Bon Jovi using a technique usually create you he originally created to fix my vocal problems. Interesting. And Angelo says, I'm seeing him Monday in my town. That's interesting. I bring up Bon Jovi, and a couple of people have Bon Jovi references
right.
for in my show. That's interesting. I'm going to tell my friend Steve, who is a huge Bon Jovi fan and has his Bon Jovi band that he's bringing back. And Angelo says, she has a great aura about her. I think that's the first thing I said when I brought you on the screen, because you filled up my screen with this glow. Kelly, thank you so much for being on my show and sharing your story and reaching out to even make this connection. I'm so glad you did, and that we got to share this time together. I love your smile. I'm just gonna sit here and watch you smile.
Well, thank you again for having me. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, you can just go to my website and book a call. If you know someone who's experiencing hair loss and needs some support, they can just book a call with me, and we can chit chat.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to put you in the green room.
Okay.
Don't disconnect. I want to say goodbye to you personally, but let me sign off to my audience, and I'll talk to you in a minute.
Okay.
Thanks for being here. Wow, guys. All right, here we go. Ready? We're going to do a breath in and out. I'm just going to take a nice. Do it one more time. Center ourselves. Feel the live stream of consciousness. I totally appreciate everybody for being here. That was awesome, Kelly. I love the story. I love the energy. I love meeting people who are so authentic that you see it, you feel it, the glow is there, and it's just undeniable. So thank you, Kellie, for being here. Like I said, let me just open up my calendar real quick here, because I do have a bunch of really cool stuff going on next week. I have Carolina Luna on, who, if you follow me on social media, she's been doing the drum circles, the full moon drum circles over the last couple of months. I went to one 2 months ago. I went to one this month. Awesome. She's a very, very spiritual healer and leader, and I can't wait to talk to her. The next week, I have Eric Herniak, who just completed his 360-mile bike ride. He was on the show a couple of weeks back talking about this ride, and he had some very spiritual experiences through the ride, which he wanted to share with me here on the live stream of consciousness. So I invited him back. The week after that, I have John Marine, who is a film director. We had Deborah Markowitz, who is his partner, on a few weeks ago, and again, she uncovered some awesome things about her scripts kind of coming to her and being a way for people to kind of remove their trauma, right, through the script, some of the actors who are involved and some of the people who the stories are about. So a lot of really cool things are going on. The 29th, I'm taking the week off. I'm going to see Incubus. I'm excited. Madison Square Garden, Incubus at Madison Square Garden. But then the weeks after, I've got Danielle Bragna on, who is an amazing sound healer and musician. Just some really cool stuff going on. Another show with Metatron talking about conspiracy theories. So keep yourself tuned in. Tell your friends about the live stream of consciousness. I just want to grow the show this year and grow the community and just be able to make it easier for people to connect with each other and to feel the connection with each other. So until next week, peace. Talk to you soon.